This lesson will be talking about entertainment. We're going to work with what we call intensifiers in sentences. We have a few examples of these. So we have 4 forms we will look at today. And here's an example sentence of each one of intensifiers. So, too. It was too busy to get in. Very. It was very busy, but we still had fun. Pretty. It was pretty busy. Not something enough. It wasn't busy enough. I was a bit bored. So first we'll start with to. Now we form this by using to, an adjective, and a to infinitive. So Broadview, that's a bit too far to walk. So Broadview is a street and it's too far, so it's not desirable. So too far to walk. So starting with the first to or to something to describes something that is excessive and makes an experience unpleasant or even impossible. So something is excessively an adjective and it makes something unpleasant. And we can also make the verb impossible. So for example, it's too busy to walk. And this is something that is considered stronger. Let's look at 3 example sentences with to or to with a to infinitive. The grocery store was too crowded. It's too early to have a beer. I'm too tired to think right now. And some context for these examples. The grocery store was too crowded. And the meaning behind this is, so I didn't go inside. It was too crowded. It's too early to have a beer. And the context here would be, so you shouldn't have one. So if you're having a beer, it might be a little unpleasant because it's the morning. It's too early to have a beer. I'm too tired to think right now. So right now, thinking will be difficult because I'm tired, making the situation unpleasant again. Our next intensifier is very. So this is a step down from to. It's not quite, it doesn't make something unpleasant. We use this by using a subject, a be verb, very, and an adjective. So it's a very calm neighborhood. And we use very, the intensifier, when we want to emphasize the adjective or adverb, or to make a statement stronger. So something isn't just beautiful, it's very beautiful. And when we want to use very, we can also use the more casual really. They have similar meanings. And not very actually has the opposite effect. So it's used to soften a negative opinion of something. So what does this look like in practice? Philip is a very nice man. The Louvre is amazing, but it's very crowded. It's not a very good movie. So let's look at what these mean when we add context. So here we use very because Philip is a very nice man. He's particularly nice. Not only nice, he's very nice. The Louvre is amazing, but it's very crowded. So this is almost too much, but it's still okay. We still enjoyed the Louvre. It's not a very good movie. Now, here in the negative is an example of softening a comment. So you can say, it's not a good movie. Or you can soften this by saying, it's not a very good movie. And this is something people often use. So here we use the word pretty, which can also mean beautiful, but as an intensifier, we use this to mean only slightly, or something is a slightly strong adjective. So here we make this by the subject, the be verb, pretty, and an adjective. So it has been pretty quiet at work this summer. Not very quiet, but pretty quiet. Now, as I mentioned, we use pretty when we want to talk about something that is somewhat good, but not excessively. And it actually makes a statement weaker. And you may have heard the word fairly before, or moderately, which are more polite versions of pretty. But pretty is a very common word that people use a lot in everyday conversation. And some examples. The weather's pretty good today. It was pretty busy, but we didn't mind. I've been pretty tired lately. Let's look at some context. The weather's pretty good today. So it's not great. It's not a very beautiful sunny day, but it's okay. It's pretty good. It was pretty busy, but we didn't mind. So this means it was somewhat busy somewhere that they've gone, but it was not too much. And you don't want to be strong when you talk about how busy it is. So it was pretty busy. I've been pretty tired lately. This means not excessively and not strong, but you've been pretty tired. I've been pretty tired lately. Now, not something enough can also be used with to, but we use this normally in the negative with a subject, a negative be verb, adjective, enough, and a to infinitive if we use this. So it wasn't warm enough to swim. So we usually use this set of phrases when something is or isn't the right amount needed. So you can say enough in the positive to say it is the right amount that is needed, but it's usually used in the negative when we are intensifying something. So not something enough. And some examples of not enough. It wasn't warm enough to go swimming. I wore enough clothes to keep warm. I haven't been sleeping enough lately. And some context here. It wasn't warm enough to go swimming. This means it was too cold, so we did not go swimming. It wasn't warm enough to go swimming. I wore enough clothes to keep warm. So this means I was comfortable, and in the positive, I had the sufficient amount. So I wore enough clothes. It was the perfect amount. I haven't been sleeping enough lately. So this is emphasizing that it's less than you need. So again, in the negative, you would like more sleep, but you haven't been sleeping enough lately. Let's practice this a little bit. So here are 4 sentences, and in brackets, we have the meaning behind them. So let's choose to something, not enough, pretty, and very. So make sure you look at the meanings and the adjectives, if we need them, and fill in the blanks. So the answers of these are, I haven't had enough water today. So this is, the meaning was, I need more. I haven't had enough in the negative. It's been too hot to exercise lately. So the adjective here is hot, and it's excessively hot, and it makes exercising unpleasant. It's been too hot to exercise lately. It hasn't been a very good summer. So in the negative, you're softening this. So this summer has been okay, but it hasn't been very good. I saw that movie. It was pretty good. In this case, not great, not very good, but it was pretty good. Our topic today was talking about entertainment, and in our practice conversation, we're going to review a movie, or talking about a movie with a friend after you've both seen it. So let's look at the clues in the brackets and choose to something, very, pretty, and not something enough. Okay, let's look at these answers. I did, but it wasn't very scary. So this is something that is a negative comment about the movie. Maybe you didn't like it that much. So you are softening your negative comment with very. It wasn't very scary. Agreed, the story wasn't interesting enough. So almost, but not quite sufficient. And it was a bit too slow. So the pace of the movie was not quick, and it was a bit boring. So it made it not enjoyable. So it was a bit too slow. Still, it was pretty fun to watch in theaters. So in this case, when you're generally speaking negatively about the movie, you have a soft compliment here. It was pretty fun to watch in theaters, as opposed to watching at home. So let's read this through. Hey, did you see that new horror movie? I did, but it wasn't very scary. Agreed, the story wasn't interesting enough. And it was a bit too slow. True. Still, it was pretty fun to watch in theaters. Very well done on this lesson. Not pretty well, very well. So I hope you feel comfortable using intensifiers when you're describing an experience. And often it can come in handy when talking about entertainment. Thanks again, and see you in the next lesson.